again, we're here talking about WKU Lady Topper basketball. Hard to do that right now without talking about Acacia Hayes, star freshman for WKU. Almost a given every year that you're going to have a freshman who sticks out. Past 2 freshmen of the years have gone to WKU, with Hope Savory 2 years ago and then Maya Meredith last season. And who knows, maybe Acacia Hayes has a bid at that with her career-best 31 points in the last game, the win over UTSA. I don't know if you heard this, but when I was talking to Maya about Acacia, I told her that on the broadcast, I don't even really feel bad about it. She had her career-best 19 points a few games ago. It was the Aaliyah Pitts game when she had 21 and 5 threes. And so Acacia got plenty of love on the air, but not nearly as much as she probably deserved because of Aaliyah's game. And then the 31 points was absolutely all her on the radio. So she got her time.
You know, in my book, she's the best freshman in our conference. Now, I mean, I know that she's not won that award yet, but she's growing, and you saw in that game, and you've seen in other games what she's capable of doing. And so it's just a matter of her continuing to grow in that confidence and really feel like that she's got that green light to go. She doesn't take bad shots. You know, I think she's our either she or Maya one is our leading field goal percentage shooter. I think she might be also our leading 3-point field goal percentage shooter.
She is, at nearly 50%.
Right. And you know, her volume's not super high, but that tells you her shot selection is really strong. And she doesn't take it. You know, really, the only time she makes a mistake is when she drives into trouble. She's probably got a few extra charges where she's kind of gotten herself into trouble down there on too deep of a drive. But she's learning, and she's hit some big pull-up jump shots for us as well, which, you know, if she starts hitting deep threes, pull-ups, and layups, what are you going to do?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny because you and I were talking the morning of the UTSA game shoot-around, and you said, oh, well, if she adds a mid-range game, then look out, right? Because her offensive arsenal is already very strong as a freshman, but she adds a mid-range game, suddenly the offensive fouls are whittled down, and you get some more points in there instead of fouls. The first shot she took against UTSA, if I'm not mistaken, was a mid-range jumper from about 15 on that near elbow. And I immediately thought of you. That was really nice to see.
Well, it's good to see her take that because it's open. And she's not the only player. You can go way back. I mean, go all the way back to Kendall Noble. Kendall Noble was really good at getting to the basket, but she would drive right through an open pull-up jump shot at 12 feet to go take a challenged 4-footer or 6-footer. And so and Tasia Brown became really good at the pull-up because she realized early on that, wait, they can't block my shot right here. And so Casey's learning that early, and that's going to serve her really well. I was really proud of not just the offensive performance. You know, it's pretty impressive when you go 10 for 11. But you know, she really sat down and played some good defense for us. We kept pressure on the ball, and that's an improvement for her. And that's something we need her to continue to do is be impactful on the defensive end.
Acacia Hayes is definitely trending upwards for WKU. Now the team's leading scorer, that changed, and we went from Jalen Foster to Acacia Hayes after the 31 points in the win against UTSA. Let's talk a little bit about her recruitment, because if I'm not mistaken, 2021, she releases her top 8 choices. WKU's not there originally, right? So what was your pitch kind of at the last moment to make her reconsider WKU?
Well, I think she wasn't satisfied with some of her visits that she had been on, and we invited her to come up and visit, and she has an interest in becoming a cardiologist. And so we brought her up and visited the medical school, spent some time with the doctors, and really was impressed by that and how it's connected to the university. And then it's close to home. She's a family girl. Family's important to her, and so that proximity to being able to have her family come watch her and be able to kind of get in line for med school, that all kind of made sense to her. And so, you know, we were glad to have her, glad to add her to the roster. She fits with the style of play, and we're thrilled. And she's doing a good job on and off the court.
Yeah, you get her from Murfreesboro, which maybe just heightens the rivalry. And you'll see Middle Tennessee later on. It was a really good game, a really close loss, only by 5 to the preseason favorite in Conference USA. And it's funny because it was after the UTSA game, of course, when she goes for 31 points, and their broadcaster goes up to me after the game and just says, where, why, how did you get and have an Acacia Hayes? And sure, he didn't see maybe the early stages of her career, and she's in those early stages, but she had a few games that she turned the ball over about 5 times, whatever. So he hasn't seen that. I mean, he's only seen the quote-unquote finished product. And I say that because she's not a finished product, but the up-to-date product. But where she is now is looking really good. Do you think her 31-point game against UTSA is more indicative of where she is now, or maybe she just had a good matchup somewhere in the middle? Where do you think she actually is?
I think it just shows you where her confidence is. I think her confidence is growing, and defensively they gave her some looks that other teams haven't given her quite as many of those particular looks. And quite honestly, Brad, the referees blew the whistle. She's not a big girl, and when she drives in there and she gets knocked to the ground, there's no foul call. Well, we don't get free throws or points.
Yeah.
And so she got to the free throw line, and she might have had 36 if she'd made some free throws.
Yeah, she missed the last two.
I teased her.
But hey, she made 8 free throws. I don't know off the top of my head how many she took. But she made 8, and that's got to be somewhat impressive because the team as a whole, the game prior, had 4 free throws.
That's right.
So she took it herself.
That's right. And so I think it just shows just kind of where her confidence is, and it's growing. She's probably not going to come out and get 31 every night. Yeah. That'd be great if she did. We would be thrilled with that. But really, I want her to come out and give that same kind of defensive focus and intensity every night. That she can do that every time.
And she's a freshman, and she's still developing, but she's 5'8", and maybe, just from my perspective, maybe a little bit generous. I don't know if she's 5'8", is she?
Yeah, maybe with her shoes on.
Yeah. Okay, so when you're coaching defense for a smaller player, what actually goes into that? Because just physically, maybe a little disadvantaged, right?
Well, our whole team's a little bit smaller than most of our opponents. We're usually outsized, and so we talk about doing our work early. Rather than trying to play defense after the fact. We try to make sure we're playing defense early. And whether it's early help or whether you're up the line, whether you're on the ball, whatever it is, we're trying to be early. If you're at a size disadvantage, being late's not going to help you. And so we talk there's no such thing as late help. It's either early help or it's not going to exist. It's going to be a foul. And so we talk about really just being ready, and she's getting better and being a little bit more disruptive, and she's getting better and better at that, and actually the whole team is, and we've just got to continue to work in that direction, and as we get a little bit more experience and just a little bit more confident, I think that we'll be a hard team to beat.
We're going to take a quick break, but before we do, I just got to get your opinion on this. The last segment we had Maya, and she said that Teresa is the pilot on the team if the pilot sleeps in. You agree with that assessment?
If I'm not flying it, I'll let Teresa fly.
Oh, so you're taking the wheel. Okay, yeah, but as far as the players, you going with Teresa?
Yeah, I think so. I think anybody that's a mechanical engineer and made a 4.0 this semester, and so she's going to figure out all those controls probably faster than anybody else in there. So, I think I'll trust Teresa if I'm not. But first, I'm going to say, Teresa, I've got a four-wheel drive truck. Move over.
I respect that. All right, so again, Teresa Faustino may be flying the team to Florida this weekend, but before that happens, WKU is playing UAB in Diddle Arena on Wednesday. Be sure to get your tickets, and if you can't, you can tune in on ESPN 102.7 and the Varsity Network app. That's where you're listening to the Greg Collins Show. We applaud your decision to do that, also on Facebook, and we're back in a moment on the Hilltopper Sports Network from Learfield.